Hey guys, alright, just before the show starts, I wanted to let you guys know that my fight against cancel culture is still happening. Please go to the description below. There's a link titled Support My Fight Against Cancel Culture. If you want to help my fight, please consider giving a bit of a donation. All the information's in that link. With that being said, enjoy the show. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Tech Tuesday. Woohoo! And as you can see, Yanni is with me once again, looking sexy as always, and apparently Pac-Man is behind him in the background. Say hi, Yanni.
Hey guys, how's it going? How's it going, Joe? This
Going
is an
good.
interesting topic today. I'm enjoying this retro gaming discussion, and it's been interesting researching some of the history about
Yes,
gaming.
absolutely. We're going to get into that in just a moment. First, let me say hi to everyone that's with us in the chat. We have Mr. Punisher has joined us. Hello, Mr. Punisher. Thank you so much for joining. And of course, Reese Vandervalt saying "Jij ni Yanni." Second, and then she says,
Means
"Hey,
I can
look,
count.
weirdos on a live stream." By the way, happy birthday, Reese Vandervalt! It's your birthday today. I hope you had a fantastic day, and I hope Yanni has spoiled you rotten. And thank you for allowing him to be on this stream on your birthday. So I just thought I'd give a quick shout out to Reese. And yeah, okay, so very quickly, don't forget, guys, if you're new to my channel, please consider subscribing. It would be greatly appreciated. As well as if you enjoy this video, please do give it a like. And if you really want to, you can dislike it. It really doesn't matter. And then if you want to support my channel on a monthly basis, you can become a member for as little as 10 Rand. 10 Rand, guys. That's nothing. It's less than $1. It's for my international buddies that might be around. So please go and become a member. Also, if the chats do get a bit hectic, please remember that super chats are the way to go when you want to highlight a question. And by YouTube law, I have to address it, so please don't be shy with the super chats. I have to address any and all super chats. Okay, let's get right into it. Retro gaming tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Please go and check out all the other Tech Tuesdays that we've done. Tonight, I decided to pull out it's an outdated one, but it still has, I think it was the first one released, I'm not sure. And it has the history of gaming in it, which I thought would be interesting to talk about. Because I think you're more of an 80s child than I am. I was born in 89. When were you born?
Yeah, I was born in 81, so, you know, I brought gaming to you, Joe.
All right, cool. Well, we were browsing this book here, and we found out something quite important. Now, this is interesting, right? So the first mechanical computer that plays a chess game was in 1912. Right? People just made a mechanical computer that could play chess in 1912. That's pretty much the first, from what this book says, adaptation of a video game back in 1912. But that quickly escalated, and in what was it, Yanni? The first CPU?
1971? 15
1971.
November 1971.
Yes, look at Yanni. Always knows his stuff. But yes, in 1971, the CPU was invented, and from there on, it kind of it kind of just snowballs after that. I don't know what skyballs is. Snowballs after that, and in 1972, we have Atari, and from there on, it's a lot of other interesting facts. I mean, where do you want to start with this, Yanni?
Yeah, I think let's start with Atari. I think they were definitely one of the first game consoles out there at the time. Now, obviously, as you mentioned, Joe, in 1912, when the first chess computer was built, or the chess game was built, it's interesting though, because that was at a time where they basically, I suppose, just used logic, to play a game, where there wasn't actual processing power that could make decisions like what a CPU allows a computer to do. So, it's a significant point in time, really, the 1970s or 71, when the CPU got created, because after that's when you see all these consoles came up. And the first one to market kind of like was the Atari game system or whatever it was called. And those are the ones that you hooked up to your TV, and you had that controller, and nothing was wireless, and you had these cartridges that you would stick into this thing, and then those would be your games. And I mean, that I think was when a lot of game developers kind of like started, and that's where a lot of these big game houses also kind of like in the next, I think, 20 years is where all of the big gaming companies that's out today kind of like started. Because a lot of the games that's out today, if it's not something that's come over the last few years, it's like indie developers, which some of them has really good traction, but the big gaming houses like EA and Konami and Akamai and some of those guys they went really way back into the 70s and 80s.
Yeah, it's actually quite fascinating how as soon as the CPU is invented in 1972, as we said, Atari is made, and not soon after that, the first 3D wireframe and first deathmatch game was done in 1975. The first cartridge-based console was in 1976. It was 64 bytes of RAM, or bits of RAM. And from there, it just, 1977 is the first handheld electronic game. 1978, the first game that uses speech. 1979, the first cartridge-based handheld. And that's interesting to me, the 1978 first game to use speech. Do you know
synthesized voice.
Yeah, do you know which game that was?
I have no idea. It's probably going to be something silly like it won't be Pac-Man or something, because Pac-Man only got developed in the 80s.
No. So I'll read the full
like
thing.
Like tennis or something?
I'll read the full thing. I wonder if you had one, because I had one when I was a kid. I remember these. I had one. And I'll show the picture in a moment. Speak and Spell, the electronic spelling game by Texas Instruments, is the first game to use speech. And there's the picture. I had one of those. It's the one with the kid.
Yeah, that's an Atari though.
No. The one using the
Oh
one
no,
holding,
wait, move it down.
The kid.
Oh, sorry, I'm seeing a different camera.
Sorry.
sorry.
The kid. So I had one of those, and it's supposed to help you speak. And Dane Cook has a excellent joke about speak and spell. He said he could spell very well, but then he spoke funny because it was always like A B C D E F. So yeah, that's how it spoke. And then we have the first cartridge-based handheld called Microvision, which is in 1979. And then I think it's amazing. I'm going to try and show this to the audience. Like, these are some. I don't know if this is going to bring back some memories for some of you. But I can't. Yeah. So kind of lost here. So obviously these are the first type of games way back when. But then you get into the whole Nintendo, Sega, and I think I know that some of the younger viewers who might watch this will be like, "Oh my God, these are such boomers!" But this is retro gaming. This is what you and I grew up with. I remember Nintendo 64. I remember Nintendo, Super Nintendo. I remember Sega. It was like the big deal. I mean, look at these awesome freaking graphics, guys. Like this was high tech back in the day. These pixelated.
Yeah. What's that? Mortal Kombat or?
Yeah, both of them. Sonic.
Yeah, but Joe, interesting though on the 1979 when the handheld console got made is I wonder if Nintendo ever bought out that company, probably, because through the late 80s and 90s, definitely the 90s, Nintendo and the Game Boys was the ones that that dominated that portable handheld market, though, hey, with like Donkey Kong and Tetris. I see Gentle in the comments was also asking about Tetris, because Tetris was invented in 1984. And even to date, it's still a very popular game, even in its old crappy graphics and whatever. There's guys that does like Tetris marathons. The other day, me and Reese watched one of the marathons from a couple of years ago where there was two guys left, and it was basically a death match between the two of them. And they were playing Tetris, and it gets hectic. I mean, even today, that simple game, trying with the blocks and aligning them and changing the orientation, you would see the guys thinking ahead, and with Tetris, like, you need to cancel out the levels though, right? So these guys start stacking up levels. They're like 60, 70% high. And then next moment, you just see them like do like 10 levels at a time as they like complete them all. And then they like get special points and all kinds of things. And it's insane how a simple game like that is 36 years old, is still being played today. And you made an interesting point, Joe, about some of the younger kids might think, what are we talking about and whatever. For the guys that haven't seen the movie, there's an well, it's not old, it's 14 years old, but it's called Grandma's Boy. And I think it came out in 2006. And that was about a guy that's a game tester and whatever. And in these game testing, these were like older guys, like in their 30s. And they had youngsters there probably in their like 20s. And then they had like these retro game, I don't know, dance off or play off or whatever against them. And they would play games from like the 80s and the 90s. And time again, the older guys would beat them. So I think even for us still today, that holds a very special place in my heart as these old games where it started, because kids today won't know where it started. I mean, they're used to the stuff that is downloaded online on Xboxes and whatever, and that's all great. But I mean,
No,
this is a very
sorry,
special point
I
in
have
time.
I have to mention this. They completely miss out on the electrifying experience of taking a cartridge and going when it doesn't work. You remember that? And then going.
Is it like this, you mean, Joe? Like one of these cartridges where you're like, and then you're like, okay, cool, and then let's plug this thing in. Is it like one of these?
Yes.
They
Exactly.
won't know what that was like
They
when
don't even know
you switch it
what
on and it
you,
didn't work, and you switch it off and on and off and on, and then it works.
and they won't even know what you were holding there. Like, what is that? What is that brick?
Let's bring it back. So
Yeah, guys.
this is what is this? A 9,999,999.
In
Listen
one.
carefully. In one game cartridge. It only has 5 games in it, but you scroll through like gazillions of levels, 999,900,900 times. So
Oh man. Well, speaking about Pac-Man, invented in 1980, becomes one of the biggest games of all time, and one of the first games to appeal to female gamers, like you mentioned earlier.
yeah,
That's an interesting fact. Pac-Man apparently was very popular with the ladies.
yeah. And Pac-Man was one of those games that got played in the arcades. So I mean,
Yes,
for the guys that remember those 20 cent, well, I don't know what it was
probably 5 cents.
earlier in the 80s, but certainly for me, like from 86, 87, when I was I don't know what, 6, 7 years old, 8 years old probably, or 10 years old when we played them. Those were like 20 cent machines, so 20 cent coin machines, and those were very, very popular in the arcades. But there was an interesting flaw with Pac-Man, though, is that how Pac-Man was designed, it had a pattern, and a lot of the guys that was good at gaming, they could figure out that pattern, and hence they
Yes.
could basically clock the game. So that was, as you said, Joe, created by Atari, and later on, Midway, so Midway is also a gaming house or a gaming company, or however you want to call them, they created Miss Pac-Man or
Yes.
Mrs. Pac-Man or MS Pac-Man. And that one used some new, I don't know, AI
Pattern,
or
yeah.
something that didn't have that pattern, and it made it a lot harder and obviously a lot more appealing because the guys were looking for that constant challenge.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I don't know if anyone's ever watched that movie. It came out a few years ago. Pixeled, I think it's called. I don't know if you saw that one. They also spoke in that movie about a pattern, and that's how they managed to beat the aliens that come and for some reason wanted to play Pac-Man. But those of you that watch the movie will understand what I'm talking about. That sounded very weird. In 1981, Donkey Kong arcade game is released, initiating Jumpman's, which is the characters that jump, and also the early name for Mario, Super Mario. a long career in video games. So obviously, Donkey Kong had Jumpman, and that pretty much became Super Mario later. So that was in 1981. Yeah. What else can we say? There
An
we go.
interesting point on that, Joe, and it probably only happened in the next 10 years, but at that point in time now, though, right, the CPU is already about 10 years old at least, and obviously it's not 10 years old, the technology is 10 years old. They were making newer, faster, smaller CPUs, and then you start having Moore's law, and they were getting, smaller, faster, etc. But at the time, it was still using 8-bit technology. So an interesting challenge that game developers had at the time was, and I forgot what the right term for it is, but if you ever recall playing some of these games, when your character runs on the screen, sometimes your character stays in the middle and the screen keeps on moving.
Yes.
And sometimes your character kind of like runs to the end and then the screen shifts and then runs to the end and then the screen shifts. That was a way around it for them because they didn't have the processing power. They really only started getting that, I think, when the 16-bit consoles came out. Where the complexity was, the processor was able to handle the complexity, and the guys could have these continuous flowing, moving screens. And this is, before we're talking about 3D and all those things. But that was interesting again as they were pushing that limits of what these consoles could do, even, how basic it was, at the time.
Well, I just read something interesting to go along with that, seeing as we're talking about the bits and stuff. IBM launches a 5150 PC, the first PC. It has text-based graphics and a beeper for sound. So interestingly, games, could we say, so computer, when the first computer was released, not PC, personal computer, that's personal computer, but a computer back in the day were huge. Talking about the first ones ever invented, were huge. They weren't
full,
and weren't available to the masses. So it's interesting to me that gaming was available to a lot of people. We had, handheld consoles, and Atari came out, and then the personal computer came out. And this is the argument that I have with you sometimes, that gaming, or console gaming, is the OG, and PC just took it and made, one could argue, made it better, but...
Well, they helped each other. I think it's two technologies that helped each other. And
I'm just teasing.
and we can have a debate on that a little bit. But just another interesting fact before we move too far off into the 90s. Nintendo, do you know how old Nintendo is?
The company?
The company, yeah. Apparently, Nintendo dates back to 1889, and they developed card games. So it's way before, way before electronic games came out. But I mean, apparently, like Nintendo as a company, I know they had Donkey Kong and whatever you said in '83, but they started doing card games in like 1889, which is like, do you want to correct me?
No, I don't. I want to prove you right, because it says here in 1889, Nintendo, Japan's Fusajiro Yamashiki forms Nintendo Koppai to make Hanafuda playing cards. So which in Nintendo means leave luck to heaven. Later renamed Nintendo Co. So yeah, it's here.
Okay.
Well done, buddy.
It's interesting though that something is that old.
Starting as a card game as well, and then eventually moving on to electronics is very interesting. So let me see some of the comments here. We have. I thought I'd bring this up with you, Mr. Punisher, saying that I still have my double screen Nintendo Donkey Kong handheld. That's awesome.
Oh, wow.
I don't have any of my. I had Game Boys. I even had the handheld PlayStation.
PSP?
Yeah, PSP. I had that at one stage.
I also had a PSP.
I never had a Nintendo DS. I've always had I had the Nintendo Game Boy when it was first released. I'm sure there's a picture of it here somewhere. That kind of brick-looking thing, and then I had obviously Nintendo Game Boy Color. That was a big thing when it came out. And yeah, people, I want to know: do you have any old consoles or any old handheld consoles?
Me? No. I wish. So I never grew up with gaming consoles and stuff, though, right? I grew up with PC, and that's not why I'm biased towards PC games. Um, I grew up with PC games, so I'm trying to think. My first memory of us having a PC was probably in the late 80s, like 89, maybe somewhere there, maybe a bit earlier, where we had a 286. Um, and my friends would usually come over to my place or our place, and we would play PC games. And when I would go over to friends' place, we would play TV games, like the traditional, Famicom and whatever, those cartridge-based TV games and things like that. It was only later in the 90s and stuff that, like, obviously all the let's call it like really nice consoles came out, like the Sega Genesis and the PlayStation 1 and all those things. Do you remember the PlayStation 1 had the black discs? Remember the bottom of the data side or whatever you call it of the discs, the CD or drive that was black underneath. Remember how cool that used to be?
I don't
That just
remember.
jumped to mind now.
I don't remember the PlayStation very well. I
The
mean,
PS1.
I have a
Yeah.
picture of it here. I mean, I remember what it looks like, but I don't
Yeah,
remember
but the
the
discs
CDs.
was black underneath. I can actually search for a picture. So no, I don't have old consoles, and you know what? I did for a while because I have a pet project where I want to build an arcade machine, because you can buy arcade machines, and there is some of the real retro arcade machines that's available to buy that is very, very expensive. I know some of the pinball machines goes in excess of 100,000 rand for a machine, but now talking about those old mechanical pinball machines with the mechanical solenoids and all kinds of things. But obviously with 3D printing and all the stuff we have access to digitally fabricate stuff, I want to build a arcade machine, but use like a smaller flat screen computer screen, run it off like a mini computer, and you can emulate a lot of the games that we played in the 80s and the 90s today. You can emulate on very, very low-end hardware because, as you know, I mean, the cell phone that we carry in our pockets today is more powerful
Yeah,
than the computer that sent the first space shuttle to the moon.
that's crazy.
It's insane, though, right? So for very small hardware investment, I can build a arcade machine. And I mean, the guys actually even sell the coin slot thingies, like the insert coin slot. You buy those things.
Nice.
And they're not that expensive. But if you want to buy a proper old retro arcade machine, you need to prepare to pay. That
Yeah,
is very expensive.
yeah.
But I'm not that much of a purist.
Well, I mean, some people aren't, but I mean, like, if you can replicate it,
That's
why
fine.
not? I saw an
We need those
interesting,
people.
fact here. In 1966, the year Ralph Baer wrote his original concept for playing games using a home television set. His 1968 brown box prototype became the commercially produced Magnavox Odyssey in 1972. He is considered the father of video gaming, and
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
this is that's what they later on made, which is the Odyssey thing. And I don't know if
Is that what he looks like now, or is that what he looked like then?
I'm trying to see if this is him, because they don't.
Like, is he still alive?
I don't think. No, I don't. No, don't think so.
Oh, well, I'm
Yes, it
just
is
saying, like,
him.
a lot of these guys are still alive today, eh? I mean,
That's him. Well, this was him in like 2009, dude. Like, I think he's dead.
okay.
I don't mean to be morbid, but
Well,
um,
we thank him for his ideas.
yeah. No, this is awesome. The father of gaming. Anyway, so let's chat a bit about, because there's a lot of people that are mentioning some games in the chat. You know, they got like I've seen where was it? Bomberman. I used to play that Bomberman. I miss Bomberman. Bomberman. There was also some other names, Duck Hunt. So yeah,
Oh, Duck Hunt.
yeah.
I have Duck Hunt on here, Joe. I have Duck Hunt on here. And did you know that Duck Hunt had this little thing? Where it had this.
Really?
Okay, guys, that's watching. This is a plastic gun. And it plugs. This is a plastic thing that looks like a gun that plugs into a very old TV console. It had this, like, way before USB ports. This is, I think, just like a serial port or something.
Yeah.
And this had like a little laser or something. I don't know how it worked, but with this,
Infrared,
you used to
wasn't
play Duck Hunt.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is.
I remember.
This is very, very good.
Speaking of that, remember infrared? Like when that was a thing, like before Bluetooth.
Mm-hmm.
Like the youngsters that are watching
Oh,
this are
right.
going to be
Yes.
so
As a
confused.
communication thing where you, yeah.
That was funny.
So, no, that was. Something else that the guys used, and we spoke about it briefly before the stream, and I can't remember. It was at the time. This is stepping back into probably the late 70s, early 90s now. But they had that ping pong game, because I saw somebody also comment and chat about ping pong. Now, ping pong is one of those easy games to write these days, because in IT terms, when you program, people have this thing called Hello World. Now, Hello World's like when your app does its first thing. Like when you program, the first thing your app does is say Hello World. Now, in gaming, like ping pong is one of those easy things to program. It's probably like making macaroni and cheese or something if you're a chef or something. You know, it's one of those things you should just be able to do. Now, what these guys did with ping pong is they sold ping pong as a like an interchangeable game. So because you had these old TVs with like the static, those old big glass TVs, remember the CRTs? So you had this overlay that you would like suck to the screen because the static would make it stick, and then you had like an overlay of either a tennis field or a or hockey or whatever you wanted to play. So that was interesting how the guys was like augmenting the game with like different things. I mean, I know that's silly to have these overlays, but I mean, from there on, you started with like all these things, like these infrared guns and all kinds of things. It was very interesting at the time. Do you remember the old video stores, like VHS video stores, like where you go and rent videos before DVDs and whatever? You could rent the TV games, you could rent the cartridges. For like a weekend or something, I can't remember, and then you would, and the things couldn't save though, right? So you can't save the game. So you would go and sleep over at a friend's place. You would leave the game running because you pause at like level 297, and yeah, there's no way to save. So
I'm actually
you had to leave the game running until you wake up the next day.
I read it somewhere here when the first ever gaming console was able to save. I can't find it now. But yeah, 1988 Sega Mega Drive, aka Sega Genesis, in the US eventually becomes Sega's best-selling games console with over 29 million units sold worldwide. That's a lot. 29 million units. Then also in 1988 we have the first CD-ROM unit for a console is released for the PC Engine as an add-on. First color handheld games console comes out in 1989. That's the year I was born. And then we have 1991. Sega's Sonic the Hedgehog takes on Mario. So obviously I think that's when Sonic was released.
So those were two big competing
mascots
or game rivals.
Yeah.
So yeah, because that's also when Sega kind of like entered the market, and Super Mario was made by Nintendo.
Yeah.
Is it
Nintendo
or Atari?
No, Nintendo.
Yeah, it was Nintendo.
Yeah.
And then Sega came into the game, and then they had Sonic the Hedgehog. Now, interesting though, Where are we now? 1991.
Yes.
So in 1994, there was Sega had their first gaming world championship. Now at the time, there's already been other world championships. There was the first world championship, I think, was in the 1980s, which was the Atari video game championship or something. Then you had, I think, in 1990 you also had the Nintendo World Championships, but in '94 you had Rock the Rock, Sega Rock the Rock, and apparently, like around the globe, they had these, like how idols work. You go to your closest wherever, and then you go and play, and then if you make it through to the next stage. But apparently, the finals was done on the Rock, so on. Now I forgot what's the island called where the Rock was. They also shot the movie there, Alcatraz.
Alcatraz.
So it was held in Alcatraz, yeah. And then they set up Alcatraz with like gaming,
the losers go
like
to prison.
arcade systems and stuff like that. Yeah, yeah. So that was
That's interesting.
That's massive, dude. Like imagine in 1994. Depending on how old you were, because a lot of those kids that played there was like 10 years old or whatever. Like imagine you tell your dad, like, hey,
I'm gonna go to Alcatraz.
I need to go to yeah, I need to go somewhere to go and play Sonic the Hedgehog. The thing that you don't want me to play all the time. Like I need to go and do that for money.
To a very secure prison to play a video game. It's a tournament, Dad. You don't understand.
Dude, imagine that. How did you float that in a time like that where gaming wasn't big? I mean, gaming today is a paying job for some people.
Yeah, huge. It's huge.
I mean, let's not talk about the esports and whatever. I mean, it's massive, but like, 10 years old, like hey, Dad. That would have been an interesting discussion.
Yeah. I just want to mention some more facts here. Virtua Fighter turns heads in arcades. It is the first fighting game to use hardware 3D polygons, as well as using real world fighting techniques. So obviously that was a big moment in gaming history. And then in the 90s, again, like things just once it seems like every time there's a breakthrough in gaming, it just snowballs even more, because from the 90s, in just a decade, you had the release of, PlayStation arrives in '94 in a blaze of glory. Its award-winning advertising helps it become the first console to sell 100 million worldwide. You had
that's insane.
Yeah, that's crazy. 10 million, the number of World of Warcraft subscribers worldwide as of January 2008. I don't think it's that amount anymore. And then you have in 1996, Nintendo 64 is delayed until Super Mario 64 is finished. Upon release, Super Mario 64 becomes one of the most successful launching titles ever, grossing over $200 million worldwide. And in the same year, Lara Croft stars in 3D action-adventure game Tomb Raider, and soon becomes the most recognizable female game character. So that's in '96.
So there's something significant, just to stop on that point real quick. The Nintendo 64 though, right?
I had one.
So I mean, something that I just spotted, and I'm so happy for you, Joe. I had a PC at the time. I had a Pentium 90. Well, my dad had a Pentium 90 that I had play privileges on, but...
I was the OG, man.
Well, it was an OG console because... the Nintendo 64 was, I think, at the time, like one of the first 64-bit consoles out there. So, again, from a PC perspective...
That's why it was called 64, because it was a 64-bit.
Yeah. Now, from a PC perspective, you just made the transition from 16-bit to 32-bit slightly earlier in the 90s, but then 64-bit capable came out, I think, somewhere in 2002 or 2003, possibly mainstream though, right, when 64 capability came out. But it's really only been since, like, I think the last 10 years or something that 64-bit and PC has really been mainstream, that almost every PC runs 64-bit whatever. So from a game console perspective, that was the ultimate in hardware because of the processing power that you get. 64-bit, extending the capability of what the processing can do and what's addressable from a developer perspective. But that was a awesome console for its time.
No, absolutely.
And then Nintendo kind of like died off. I mean, I know we spoke about this earlier, but I mean,
was its death. GameCube was terrible. Like I remember there was like big hype for it, Nintendo GameCube,
yeah.
and it was crap. The graphics weren't even better. Like they were the same, if not slightly better. There was a lot of problems. I remember there was a lot of what's it called when the company takes the consoles back. But also another reason why it didn't do too well is because of PlayStation and the other Xbox and all that other stuff that was coming out at the same
Xbox.
time.
What was it called? It was just called an Xbox.
Yes, actually, I'm not seeing
because
it
then you
here.
had the 360. That's the black and green one.
Oh, there we go. Xbox. No, this is just the best of Xbox. When is Xbox?
It wasn't
released?
popular in South Africa, really. I mean, probably somebody had an Xbox, but it wasn't as popular as PlayStation. PlayStation was super popular.
Yes.
In the late 90s. When did PS1 came out, though? Was it 95, 97?
That's somewhere here. Yeah, it's
95. It came out in 95.
Yeah, 95. Pokemon. Okay.
Because at the time, a lot of games was ported from PC as well to PlayStation and whatever. Like I know a very cool game that got ported because I played it was MDK, Murder, Death, Kill.
Yeah.
On PC, and that also got ported to console or to PlayStation.
Well, it says here
around about that time.
In 2000, PlayStation 2 launched and is the cheapest DVD player on the market, which fuels massive sales in Japan. So obviously, PlayStation, Nintendo, and all that stuff. But PlayStation 2, I think, is what really killed Nintendo. I think. I think Nintendo had a fighting chance up until PlayStation 2. Once because I
had a
PlayStation
PS2.
2. Yeah, I think everybody had a PS2. Yeah.
I had a PS2 for one reason and one reason only. What? God of War. That was one of my favorite games, and that's an exclusive title to Sony or to PlayStation. God of War. So, but I loved that game, and I literally bought my PlayStation for that game. I clocked it, and when I was done, I sold my PlayStation and I bought an Xbox 360. So.
Well, that's the thing. I got a PlayStation because it was like the big not PlayStation 2, PlayStation 1. Like I had a PlayStation, so I had Nintendo 64 from Nintendo 64, PlayStation, then PlayStation 2. I stuck with the PlayStation 2. I did not get an Xbox. I thought at the time, because I remember PlayStation and Xbox, or was it PlayStation 2 and Xbox, were rivals at that point. Like they were the they were the ones that were competing in the market heavily too. There was a big debate who's better, and until today that debate still runs, PlayStation or Xbox. And actually, let me know in the comments for those of you that are watching and who had PlayStation and Xbox. Let me know. What do you guys say? Do you guys think PlayStation is better, or do you guys think Xbox is better? Don't worry about PlayStation 1 or PlayStation 2 or Xbox 360 or Xbox One. Just the brand. PlayStation or Xbox. Let us know in the comments. But yeah, so I had a PlayStation, and those games were pretty cool. And then I remember playing like Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. Please tell me you played that game.
Yeah. I played Tony Hawk's on PC though. Now, did you know that Tony Hawk played, although he was a skateboarder and whatever though, Tony Hawk's actually a big gamer. And he played arcade games and stuff before he even owned a skateboard.
Yeah, I knew that.
Like how? Yeah. That's interesting. And there's a new Tony Hawk coming out.
Yes, it's already been released. Tony Hawk Pro Skater. They remade 1 and 2. They've revamped it.
Yeah.
I see Mokopa saying PC Master Race.
Well, you asked consoles though. Else I would have answered PC as well.
Yeah, no, let's keep it to the consoles. But, I know PC.
Yeah, I mean,
PC. Look here. Let's also put this. I'll concede this. We're talking about retro gaming. Now, I think that in the years of, maybe the 70s, 80s, and 90s, the PC struggled to keep up, I think. Maybe not so much as later on in the 90s, but definitely in the beginning, PC struggled to keep up, I
I think
think.
it was too expensive.
Yeah, it was
It was
also
too
too.
expensive when you compared it to a purpose-built console
Yeah.
that played games. I mean, the Famcoms and all those things that was out at the
But
time,
until
the
today,
cartridge
if you
machines,
want
those things were
a
dirt cheap.
until today, if you want like a decent running gaming PC, I mean, those things are crap expensive. I mean, like I'm talking about
Yeah,
liquid cooling and all these fans that go in and multiple screens and ergonomic keyboards and mice and all that stuff like that. That can be very, very expensive. However,
yeah.
I will give credit where it's due. If you're spending that much on a gaming system, you know, best graphic cards and all that stuff, your gaming is gonna be pretty awesome. Like I'm not gonna lie, like that is something that
Yeah.
unfortunately consoles can't do.
But there's only one reason why you're doing that, though, right? And let's touch on this point, and I want to step back to where gaming in the 90s was important for me.
Mm.
But where PC gaming for me is important in current day, though, is consoles is fine. I appreciate consoles, and obviously I have an Xbox One. I haven't bought the new Series X yet. Don't need to, I think. I think I'll stick around, still wait for the second wave of consoles to come out. But with PC, though, is it's not. Let's not compare it, because PC graphics and all those things, when you compare it to TV games, so Xbox, PlayStation, whatever graphics, it outshines it 100 times over because of how the hardware is put to use. Gaming screens, whatever, these are all technologies that you don't have on a TV. Even the fanciest of TVs only runs your games at 1080p 60 frames a second, and nowadays some of the newer consoles 4K 60 frames a second, and then those consoles are actually struggling to get to 4K 60 frames a second, to be honest. Maybe not the newer ones, the PS5 and the new Xbox. But one thing about gaming PCs, though, is it's the experience about it. It's taking that time to build your PC with custom parts that you like, that suits your pocket, that you can upgrade as you want to go along and whatever. And that, for me, is one of the best parts of my gaming PC, for instance, because I built it from scratch.
Yeah.
I know people sell gaming PCs, and you see some of these ads and whatever. Guys, don't even go down that road. You're not buying a proper gaming PC. Gaming PCs are purposely built, put together for what you're trying to achieve with it. So, and that energy efficiency, performance, cooling, and getting the optimal performance out of, optimal power consumption, optimal cooling, optimal everything. So,
Look,
that for me was a very, very fun thing with my gaming PC. But
yeah.
a console, again, that's something you buy and it lasts for 5 years until like the next generation console comes out, and you almost guaranteed that every game you buy will work on that console and every game will run.
Yeah.
So, it also depends on what you want to do. There's a lot of tweaking involved in PC gaming, and there's no tweaking that you do on consoles. So, they all have their benefits.
Yeah, and I'm seeing a lot of people saying in the comments like PC for the win, PC is the way to go, PC more efficient, and I agree with that. Of course, it's more efficient. Maybe gaming consoles are on their way out. I don't know, but
I don't think so.
I guess I'm a purist in that way. I prefer the gaming console. I've never liked PC gaming. Judge me all you want. But yeah, that's just how I feel. I do agree with you, obviously, on the differences that you just mentioned and all that. The experience difference and that. I also wouldn't buy the new Xbox right now. I'd give it some time. But yeah, let's get back into retro gaming, because there's what years would you classify retro gaming? For me, it's obviously from the moment games were invented to, I would say, 2000s, maybe even 98 for me.
Yeah, I wouldn't go past 2000, because there it started becoming real big, and then it's just evolution, though. I think and can I tell you why? Anything past 2000, for me, at that time, a lot has matured across that space. So For me, retro gaming, yeah, we can start off when gaming started. But I think if I had to put it between two time frames, I would probably say 1980 to 2000, somewhere there. 19, late 70s to 1998, somewhere there. I would take that 20-year block, because that's when a lot happened within gaming in general. I mean, in the 90s, and I forgot now, I think it was Nintendo, it was the Game Boy. You actually had to have a developer license to develop games for the Game Boy. But to get a developer license, you had to get special permission from Nintendo in Japan or wherever, and that was all rigmarole. But there was a group of guys that reverse engineered how the Game Boy worked and how the processor worked and how they could interact with the display. And that's when they started with trying to deal with 3D games, with 3D within that small little screen and all kind of stuff. And somehow the Nintendo guys got obviously a whiff of this, and they invited them over, and rather than penalizing them for hacking the console or hacking the device, they actually onboarded them, and they leveraged that way of thinking with how they were dealing with the 3D in the game, because a lot of people attempted 3D at the time. But what these group of guys did, though, is there was this game where you flew like a little spaceship and you would fly and shoot asteroids or all kind of things.
It was called Asteroids, I think.
The realism, well, no, this was 3D though. This was in 3D. So you were imagine flying through tunnels and shooting stuff. So in a wireframe, it looks like you're flying through a tunnel. But their approach in doing that, though, was they actually had like how the spaceship would like angle and swing and whatever, made it really realistic, because it wasn't too much and not too little. So it wasn't not enough that you didn't get the effect of 3D in a two-dimensional screen, but it also wasn't too much that you kind of got motion sickness. So that was just an interesting thing. But I want to step back a little bit more to, I think, like 93 or 94 when Doom came out.
I was just going to say.
That was... Say again?
I was just going to say, I believe you have a game for us to play.
Yes. Now, Doom is for me a very, very important time within PC gaming, because at the time, the guys that created Doom were trying to play with this 3D space and have this, 3D world where you move around and shoot people and shoot monsters, not people. And that's one thing, the approach, how they did it, whatever. And I saw somebody comment in chat about Doom as well earlier. But I think even, and I see Mr. Punisher saying Wolfenstein. I think Wolfenstein actually came out before Doom from a 3D perspective. But what made Doom important, though, is Doom was the first game where you could play against each other, where you could, like LAN parties, like you remember LAN parties in the late 90s, where you could have two guys playing computer playing together. Now, Doom was the game that did that, and that's when multiplayer gaming started, because at the time in console gaming, that wasn't there. Console gaming has it now, where you can play across the internet and all kinds of things, but at the time, proper multiplayer gaming wasn't out, because the thing that you're dealing with when you're playing computer games, remember, is you're playing against an AI, and if you're clever enough, you start learning how the things work, you start picking up on the pattern. But if you play against another player, not just, two people playing Pac-Man together. I'm talking about like Doom, two first-person games playing against each other. You are dealing with a complete other person in an online world or in the gaming world. And that was like really important, because PC gaming started that. So, consoles can learn, PC gaming started that. But I want to show you something real quick. So can I go full screen quick, Joe? Am I full screen? I am full screen. Where do we want to be? No, we don't want to be there. Do we want to be there? No, I don't want to be there. I want to be here. So I'm not going to play audio, Joe, because just now you get a copyright notice. But this is Doom, guys. This is Doom when it came out in the 90s. I've been around here before, so let me just get my... Do you remember the cheat codes for Doom, though? There was a cheat code for Doom. If somebody remembers it...
I do not remember the cheat codes, no.
they can give it to us in chat quick. Let me just check.
While you're checking, I just want to say,
I just type this.
Makopa saying, I knew a guy who actually lost his marbles playing Doom. He eventually lost his job because his personality changed and he became just weird.
Oh, there we go.
That's funny. Yeah, some people take gaming very seriously.
Wow. Well, gaming for me is, and we can touch about that in the end. Gaming for me is a way of relaxation, though, so I really, really enjoy that. But so, if you've ever played Doom, you know IDKFA, which is a cheat code that you enter, and then you get all the guns. And the coolest gun you get is the BFG, and that stands for big, and the G stands for gun. And I'm sure you guys can figure out what the F stands for.
Yeah.
But this gun made rooms explode. I don't know where I am in the map. Where are we walking to? I think I've killed half of the monsters, yeah. No, I don't want to go there.
Blow something up.
I'm looking for a monster to kill. Can I go out there? No, let's just start a new game. It's easier. IDKFA. Thank you very much.
All right, so while you're doing that, I just want to bring up Makopa saying, sure, but it was really scary to watch him change because of a freaking video game. Yeah, that's also true. Oh, damn, that was one hell of a blast.
Yeah,
Mr. Punisher saying...
It's killed all the monsters. So.
Mr. Punisher saying IDDQD. Apparently that's a cheat code.
Oh, that's God mode. Yeah.
Okay.
IDDQD. There we go. So I've got all the ammo. Oh, there we go. There we go, Joe. Look at that. Look at that. Boom. Everything dead. So this BFG, what this thing does is literally everything on screen just explode and skilled. And I mean, this was awesome. Like this, kids will never know what this meant to us.
Yeah, sorry, I just want to also add ID clip or IDCLIP, you can walk through walls. I don't know if you want to try that.
Oh, really? IDCLP.
LIP.
IDCLP. Is it working? No, IDCL. IP is not working. IDCLP. Doesn't like that one.
Damn it,
maybe this one doesn't work.
Yo.
But yeah, this was a good time to play games. So Doom, yeah, a lot of guys play Doom, and I saw somebody commenting saying that Doom was scary or whatever. So
Yes.
a couple of years back, we had Doom. Let me just go full screen again. A couple of years back, we had Doom. One of the new Dooms come out. I think it's like 2, 3, 4 years ago. And there was a few guys of us at work that literally waited for that game to come out so that we could replay it. And that was the new Doom, not remastered. It was, redesigned with, new 3D engines and whatever. And dude, that game was scary. That was literally like you don't want to die. You should. That was just so much fun. I really, really enjoyed that.
Nice. Do you have any other games to show us?
Yeah, later on, what came out. So let's see. Let me flick back to. Is it there? Yep, that's where we want to be. So let me just quit this. So Murder Death Kill. Did you ever play Murder Death Kill?
No, I actually didn't.
I think this is just
or maybe
Murder
I did.
Death Kill. Enter. So this is Murder Death Kill. So let's start a new game.
I did play this game.
Dude, this alien in this thing looks so freaking awesome. I need to remember this thing's keys. I think it was Q.
Oh my
Yeah, yeah, there
word,
we
I
go.
remember
Avoid the
this.
radar. Yeah, avoid the radar. Avoid the radar.
I was a kid when I played this. I didn't understand how it worked.
Well, you would have been less than 10 years old. This game came out in 97, so you were what, 8 years old, 9 years old?
Yeah, but I only really probably played it when I was like 12 or 11.
And there we go. So now I think you're gonna, yeah, there we go. What is shoot?
Let's jump.
There we go. Okay, control. Yeah. Maybe I can use the mouse because the mouse, yes, the mouse was out at this time. Oh, thank you. But yeah, this was an awesome 3D game at the time. To play. Yeah, we want that. The world's smallest nuclear explosion. So, guys, we turned down the audio just so that Joe doesn't get a copyright notice. So,
Yeah, unfortunately, we
but
can't
we
play
don't
the
have
music or
but we
whatever.
don't have the audio. So, this was a fun game to play. I remember in the late 90s, you needed to have quite a strong PC for that at the time. So if there is anybody that has a quick game request, I can search for it. Joe, I'm also more than happy to share where I got all these old games for the guys in chat. A lot of these games are now called abandonware, which means the game developers have abandoned their rights or whatever to the game, so it's now free. So in some cases, the source code's actually even open. So a lot of these games are now free to download, free to play. You need a couple of things to make it run on your computer. A lot of people have made these things just run online. I'm actually running this game inside a browser at the moment, so you don't really need anything fancy
I have a
to play it.
game request. Aladdin.
Aladdin, I remember Aladdin. Oh, there's Mortal Kombat. What did we have here? Let's see what I would show you. Oh, Golden Axe. Do you remember Golden Axe?
Golden Axe.
Aladdin, is it like that? Aladdin. How do you spell Aladdin? Aladin.
I think it's double D.
Is it? Okay. Aladdin. Like that. No, Yanni, come on. Aladdin with a D. Oh, there we go. Aladdin.
Yes!
Which one? Disney's Aladdin.
The Super
So the
Nintendo
Super
one. That's the one I
Nintendo.
played. The Super Nintendo one.
Super Nintendo? Right, let's do that. Okay, so let's play it, guys. Excuse if there might be an ad or something come up. It won't be something weird. It's going to be a card machine or something.
Or a pot plant.
This card machine. Come on, ad skip. Yeah. This
Someone's
guy's selling card
benefiting from
machines.
the ads.
I watched so many of these ads this week. I bought a card machine.
So we have some other requests. Quake, Diablo.
Quake, Hexen, Heretic. Nice. I like how White Noise is thinking.
Yeah, maybe we can
Right,
try one of
Jared.
those after this one. We are approaching our
Cool.
1 hour mark,
Okay.
but we can go a bit over. It's fine.
Okay, cool. What do we have?
Who played Aladdin?
So now we need to figure out.
Can people just tell me in the chats who played this game? Come on, there must have been people that played this game. I love this game. I could never
I did.
beat the you know the part where he goes into the cave and then you get the lamp, the genie lamp, and then everything starts falling apart. I could never beat that level.
Why? Why B, A, and R? Why B, A, and R? Why would you put the keys there? Why B, A, and R? It's on opposite sides of the. Okay, let's try it. Let's see. Why B, A, and R? Doesn't make sense. Okay, I need to jump. What was jump? Y, B, A, R. No, how do I jump?
Up.
You see now, this is the stupid thing now. No, it's not up. Maybe it's... No. Oh, wait. What did we press? Z. There we go. Okay.
I don't think anybody likes the Aladdin game. It's just me.
The sound is really awesome, dude.
Yeah, I know. It's that. It's from the soundtrack.
Oh, dude, it was fun times. So Aladdin. Let's see. There were some other requests you said.
Yeah. Let's see. There's Contra. There's Double Dragon. There's Dune. There's.
Oh, I remember
Tarzan?
Contra, Double Dragon.
Oh wait, no.
Doom we played. Let's search for Contra in the meantime. Contra's old. Contra we might not get on here. Why don't you want to search for Contra? Go back.
Some people are saying Dune, the Battle of Arrakis.
Why are you doing this? Just go. Contra. Yes, we can find Contra. Contra we found. Do you want to go way back, like one of the first ones?
Sure.
So this was on Nintendo. It looks. This was on Nintendo.
Oh my word, Metal Slug. Yes, that was an awesome game.
Do you remember Metal Slug?
Oh, that was amazing.
That was insane. When did that come out? Oh no, now we're buying 3G. 5G, don't buy 5G. There's nothing wrong with 5G technology. Just don't fall for this one. What do we have? Okay, Contra. This game used to be so awesome. Okay.
I'll be the sound effects.
Okay, let's see. Oh, dude. Okay, so S is jump, A is shoot. Okay. And okay, there we go. Cool. That's the explosion, Joe. How do I go down? How do I fall down? Oh, wait, like that. Drowned. Right, next one. What's next?
Metal Slug. You gotta do Metal Slug. And then we'll end it there.
Why can't I search
3D
for it?
pinball. Oh my word.
Now it does weird. Metal Slug. 3D pinball was awesome. Metal Slug 5. Metal Slug 2. Now let's go older. So Metal Slug 2. Got Metal Slug 2. Let's do that. And we go there. Play on mine. Let's wait. 3D pinball was awesome. I also played 3D pinball. I love chess as well. Do you remember? Was it called Battle Chess? So what was the chess one where the chess pieces would like walk around in a chessboard and like beat each other up and whatever? What was that? War chess or something? I enjoyed that.
Whoa. We're in the matrix.
Okay. Yeah, there we go. We made it.
We made it. Sunk.
We made it back in time, dude. We made it back in time.
Metal
Dude, this was
Slug 2 Super Vehicle. Insert coin. Oh my
what is
word.
insert coin?
This is so cool, man. I love this game. I really, really love this game, man. Like one of the best games
Now we need
ever.
to figure out what insert coin is. Backspace, insert. Sometimes it's insert. No, not.
Are you not playing?
No, I'm not playing. I'm trying to insert coin, buddy.
Oh.
The insert coin.
This whole time I'm
all
like,
the keys
damn,
on the
dude, you're
keyboard.
doing so well.
Oh, wait. One play start, shift. I think it's shift. There we go. There we go. There we go. What are we doing? Press A to fire.
B to
Okay,
jump.
so maybe it's A, B, C, D on the keyboard.
We could hope.
Okay, who are we choosing? You can choose.
Let's go
Let's
with
choose this guy.
yeah, Tarma.
I don't know what B, C, D.
Enter
I don't know what
space.
select is. Spacebar?
Press 1.
Sometimes it's F1. No. Well, it's going to go after 6 seconds.
Press 1 or 2. Acid Zill says press 1 or 2.
I tried. No. There we go. Just wait. Okay.
Mission 1. Start.
Okay. So that's A.
Go.
Okay. Do I only have this to throw? What's wrong with this thing? Well, music. This reminds me of arcade. I'm out of. Oh crap! I'm out of ammo. No, wait, I died.
Wah, wah, wah.
Maybe I get more ammo.
There must be a way you can shoot. Damn.
Yeah, I'm trying to B, C, D space. Oh, whoa, whoa, whoa! What does this button do? Z. Yes. Look at. I don't think I can kill that guy. Hold on.
Here we
this
go.
Guy.
Now
Yeah,
we're
there
talking.
we go. There we go.
Yeah. Die. Only
Camel.
die.
Poor camel. I think we're gonna make it, Joe. We need to insert another coin. 60 seconds. Wait. So do you see what's happening with this game? You walk a little bit and then the screen moves.
Yeah.
Like a lot of games couldn't do this, like in the 80s.
Yeah.
Right. The processing power wasn't there for it.
Damn.
So yeah. I think
Cool, man.
insert coin. I don't have 20 cents.
Well, aren't you poor?
There we go.
All right, guys. That was a trip down memory lane, to say the least. And I really enjoyed this one, man. It's so nice to go back in time like that, and just repeat again, because I saw Amy was asking, where or how did you get these games? Just very briefly.
All right, so I see. Oh, Amy, I remember Road Rash. That was an awesome game. So, guys, I'm pasting it in chat. Why can't I paste again? It's because I'm being banned, Joe.
What?
Why is your channel says I'm spamming? Weird. Okay, so guys, it's called playclassic.games. There's a couple of games. There's like DOS games for the guys that remember DOS. Windows games, there's console games like Genesis, NES, there's Super NES, there's Game Boy. There's quite a few of the other ROM games and stuff out there as well. It's quite awesome, and I think, Joe, this will even run on your Mac. I'm just saying.
Yay, I can play Aladdin again. Yeah.
So much fun.
Well, Jannie,
Yeah.
thank you, man, for taking this trip down memory lane with me and discussing where gaming came from and all the interesting facts that came along with it. Yeah, maybe we'll do another one of these. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe if people get us to 50 likes and they want to know more interesting facts about gaming and go through and take a trip down memory lane, then we'll do it again. So 50 likes, guys, not a big sum of likes. Then we'll do another one. We'll do a part 2. But otherwise, we will be back in 2 weeks from now for the next Tech Tuesday. We're going to be discussing tech and old people. I don't know how else to put it. Tech and elderly, tech and we're basically going to be talking about the pitfalls that elderly need to look out for when it comes to tech, some advice for them, and hopefully help them out figuring out tech. So yeah, that's going to be an interesting one. So if you have any elders in your family that want to know a little bit more about computers or what certain things do, please tell them to watch this or the upcoming show. We'll be happy to take any questions. Even if it's as simple as like, how do I turn on my PC? We'll answer. We'll answer. But anyway, Jannie, once again, thanks again so much for joining me. Thank you all that have watched and are listening. And for those of you that are watching later, thank you so much. Remember, please subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so already. And please also give this video a like. It would be greatly appreciated. And don't forget that you can support me, become a member for as little as 10 Rand. There's other tiers, but you can become a member for as little as 10 Rand. So please support the channel. I do put money back into the channel to help grow. I'm working on getting a mic and headsets. I'm going to become like a total podcast person, and more on that a bit later. We are working on that. So yeah, exciting things coming your way. So I hope to see you at the next one. I will be back here tomorrow evening. Again, Jannie, you're going to be joining me. I actually should mention this. We're going to be talking about cryptocurrency. And I'm going to be joined by Louis Nell and Carter from the White Noise podcast, who's also in the chat. Thank you so much for tuning in, buddy. So, yeah, we're going to have 3 geeky, techie people on the show talking about cryptocurrency and talking about some interesting topics about cryptocurrency. I won't be talking too much. I'm going to be learning from you guys. So that I'm looking forward to. That's tomorrow evening. And if I don't see you then, and if I don't see you afterwards, stay safe, be kind to one another, and I'll see you at the next one. Cheers. Hey guys, so if you enjoyed the show, please consider giving it a like and a share. Don't forget to subscribe as well if you're new to my channel. And if you really enjoyed the content, feel free to join and become a member. Don't forget about my fight against cancel culture. That's in the link in the description below. Support my fight against cancel culture. Go to that link and all the information is there. Other than that, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching.